that the attendances at the World Championship for women in Australia and the World Championships for the men has exceeded whatever we've had before. Well, I think there's another story to that with the NBA claiming the World Championships, and not too many people would dispute that the winner of the NBA would be the top club team in the world. Many of the teams that are playing in this championship here are made up of players that are really playing all over the world. The Croatian team is one in case, and many of the Greek players are playing in countries other than Greece as well. So I think that we're heading as much towards international club competition as well as we have the World Championships, which is a competition between all-star teams from the respective countries. So I'm looking forward to higher levels of club competition, and I think some of the club teams around the world would be able to compete more favourably with the NBA clubs as well.
Well, we've got the starting lineups out on the floor, and interesting lineups they are too, because Croatia has made a change and brought in Josip Brankovic. He'll be starting, obviously, to play defence on a particular assignment. And a bit of a change in the Greek lineup. They're starting Christos Tsikos as well. So we'll see how things pan out as the game gets underway. And Giannakis for Greeks with Stefanis Christodoulou. Expect to see plenty of him today. And the outside shot that falls short there from Fasoulis, a long way out of his range. But we expect to see, I don't see the ball going up and down the court very quickly in this one, and particularly in the early stages, unless there's an out-and-out fast break. But they'll play this slow-down European style. And Kukoc being met by Christodoulou. So Christodoulou has the job on Kukoc, and Kukoc fires the three for Croatia to open up the scoring.
Well, there were two tests in those two plays where Brankovic was prepared to test the range of Fasoulis. He won that contest with Fasoulis missing the long shot. And with Kukoc, he was tested about the perimeter shot, and he won it. And so Kukoc is such a complete player, capable of making the long-range three, penetrating and feeding, that Croatia isolated Kukoc on the wing there, played a little game of one-on-one. He came out on top.
You see Komosets fouling Giannakis. So Komosets out on Giannakis now. Have a look at each of the matchups. Drive to the basket that just falls, and the Greece score comes from Georgios Sigalis. So he opens the Greek scoring, and now we renew the battle at the other end. So obviously the big man Christos Tsikos is out there to guard Dino Raja. It's very much horses for courses in the lineups, Lindsay.
Well, certainly I see that as one of the most vital matchups, because Croatia does have a size advantage, and when Tsikos has a rest, then there's plenty more to back him up.
Fasoulis with the handoff there, and the shot goes up. The second straight basket comes from Sigalis. And the pattern is being established very early here, Lindsay. Players walking the ball up the floor and playing the power game down below.
But I think the Croatians are cat ready to pounce. They thrive on the transition game. They're feeling the way through these first few minutes. But just watch out if Greece makes a couple of passing errors.
Ariane Komosets hits a three for Croatia. So they've hit 2 threes and lead at 6-4. We've been playing just on 2 minutes. Being played by the biggest crowd ever watch a World Championship basketball game here. Not that time, so he couldn't make 3 in a row, Sigalis, but Greece get the ball back, and Tsikos with his first shot of the ball game was a set shot off the glass. Had so much time to shoot it, nobody came to him, and that can often be the most difficult shot in basketball. Now Kukoc to work, help from Fasoulis. Out they go to Komosets. Alanovic from the corner, nothing that time, but the Croatians clean up the board, and they do a second time through Raja. Now Komosets again. They're peppering the basket for no result. Giannakis handling the ball as he will so often in this game. Christodoulou, who's been a star in a lot of the games. Fasoulis. Brankovic didn't go to him, allowing Fasoulis to take that shot. That's the second time, Lindsay. That's obviously some kind of plan.
Well, I mean, he's going to test him on that until such time as he makes one, because Fasoulis is noted for his play around the basket, not for those medium-range jump shots, and I think Brankovic has got a sound tactic there.
The other thing, of course, if Fasoulis is going to shoot from there, the chances of them getting a second effort aren't all that good.
That's right.
Down low they go to Dino Raja from the corner, and the big Boston Celtic bangs it in from the corner. Another two-pointer, and Croatia extends the lead to 4. 8 plays 4. Ball game underway for 3.5 minutes. Sikos and Raja not going out to Sikos at all. These players all know each other so well. Short with the shot from the corner from Sigalis. And now the first fast break attempt, and Komazets takes it all the way to the hoop.
They are so deadly on that. A mistake. The mistake there was the lack of rebounding contest. And with the quick outlet pass, then Croatia's ready to burn them instantly.
So 10 plays 4. Sigalis with the handoff to Giannakis. Giannakis tests his arm. Fails the test. And away comes Komazets, met by Giannakis at half court. There was a bit of a bump and the referee said play on. Kukoc with a 3. Tony Kukoc can't find the range on that one. And now Greece with a chance to reduce some of this 6-point gap. Probing away Giannakis to Christodoulou. They dump it into Fasoulis. Now he's within range, but the defense was too good from Brankovic. But Fasoulis again, jump hook doesn't go, but we've got a foul at the back. It's against Alanovic.
Well, I think that's a better game plan for Fasoulis. He really should stick to what he does best. And although he missed those shots, he was threatening Brankovic on the inside. Brankovic had to play the second shot, and out of that they drew a foul. But if they just play a perimeter game, then that will fall very, very much into the hands of Croatia, who will dominate the rebounds and generate the transition easy basket for them. So Croatia's got a very good start in the half-court game with just the one transition game. Greece needs to do something more about their penetration and try to connect a little bit more on a higher percentage shot on those perimeter plays.
Well, the first time out of the ball game comes after 4 3/4 minutes, and Croatia in front by 6 points in the opening 5 minutes. So it's been a good start for them. The Greeks looking to regroup. They've had a look at the pattern that the game has been played. We've seen Croatia willing to shoot the 3, whereas Greece trying to find Fasoulis down low. Now, Fasoulis is the key for Greece, but he's up against a couple of pretty big bodies. They've got to beat Raja and Brankovic on the inside, and that is some test, Lindsay.
Yes, I think I mentioned before the game that there is a problem for both coaches in the recognition that this game, the particular result of this game, has little to do with the final outcome of the tournament. Croatia will be thinking very seriously about tomorrow night's game in an assumption that they can beat Greece tonight. They want to put the game away. They certainly want to win because they don't want to face the United States early in the competition, and so a win over Greece will be essential, but they want to make sure that they're going to be fresh and fit for the game against Russia tomorrow. The same will apply with Russia as well, so it's a fascinating observation of the game here to find out how hard they want to play. Right now, Croatia is very content to play a half-court game along with Greece and keep their nose ahead.
Well, you'll note in that first 5 minutes, I made very little mention of Fanis Christodoulou. And this time they go into Fasoulis again. Fasoulis tries to reverse it. No basket, but the foul is called against Stojan Brankovic. So Brankovic with the foul, and Fasoulis, in fact, Greece will take the ball from the side, but talking about Christodoulou, who's going to take the ball from out of bounds, he's been very well watched at the moment by Tony Kukoc. There's been nothing for Christodoulou in the opening 5 minutes. That's him with the ball right now. Kukoc takes up the defensive stance, and they go low to Fasoulis again. Sigalis, it's open for him a couple of times. The pass in there to Fasoulis, off his hands, out of bounds. They turn the ball over on that occasion. Something they cannot afford. Kukoc dumps to the outside to Alanovic and gets the return. Raja met there by Sikos. Alanovic, it opens up for 3 for him.
Well, that's
that
what
is
happens.
money in the bank.
Well, that's what happens when you double down on the man on the inside passively. If you're going to double down, that it has to be very aggressive, because you get yourself in no man's land. That pass out to the perimeter there left an uncontested perimeter shot, and Alanovic is going to make that all night.
Another turnover by Greece. So some danger signs here for the Greeks, but they get the ball back, and going 1-on-3 here and winning it was Panagiotis Giannakis. The Greek veteran scores and stops the streak, but they still face a 7-point deficit. Croatians make a mistake, and Giannakis making them pay. Alanovic inside. Raja against Sikos, and Raja under some good defense from Sikos, but underneath it's Komasets goes in and gets the board. Someone missed their assignment in blocking out. We'll have a look at it again. There's underneath, Komasets is fouled, so he'll go to the free throw line. So Greece have made a couple of fundamental errors there, couple of turnovers, and letting Ariane Komasets in underneath. Very good outside shooter, but someone's got to block those people off the boards. The big guy's doing their job on that occasion, but when the guard sneaks in and grabs a board like that, it can be most concerning. So Komasets had a very good game against Australia, scoring from the free throw line, and 15-6 they lead it. Been playing over 6 minutes. Christodoulou going against Kukoc, and Kukoc getting the hand in and stripping the ball off him. But it falls, and Giannakis again. Penetration from Giannakis, and it's blocked. We've got a goaltend call we have. Giannakis shrugs the shoulders. It's an interesting call here. Have a look and see if it's reached the top of its arc. It didn't hit the board, I don't think. Yes, it did. And he just got the fingertips underneath it.
I had to agree with that. I thought the call came a little bit late, but at least the right call.
So 2 straight baskets to Giannakis, and it's a 15-8 ball game. Croatia in charge. Komasets taking on Sigalis, but blocked there by Fasoulis, but it's still a Croatian ball into the hands of Alanovic, and now with Kukoc. We've got a 6'10" off guard here handling the ball, something we don't see in Australia. Alanovic goes past the hand of Fasoulis, but he worried him out of the shot enough. Giannakis pulls it up. Can he make 3 in a row? It doesn't roll for him, and Brankovic cleans up the board. Look down court, but Greece's transition defense was there and stopped any opportunity of a fast break. Almost lost there by Raja. Kukoc going to work. Alanovic in the corner, has plenty of time to set his feet underneath him and hit another 2.
Well, what I've seen so far is that Greece are trying to run something of a 5-man game and get the ball to Giannakis to make a penetration. Croatia playing very much a one-on-one game. Isolate one of their players on the wing, let him take the ball to the basket, draw some help and dish it, otherwise take it all away.
Christodoulou gets the shot up, and the foul is called. There didn't seem to be a lot in that. In fact, Komasets didn't think there was, and we're going to see a 3-shot situation now from Panis Christodoulou on the foul. Have a look at it again and see if we can see it. Well, we see that last play at the other end as they dump outside, and a 2-point shot there comes from Alanovic. But we've got time out here, and when we come back, Greece is going to be on the line through Christodoulou to shoot 3, and boy, don't they need them.
Well, I thought that shot of Christodoulou's was something coming out of desperation. He hasn't seen much of the ball so far, hasn't had many scoring opportunities, and so in a moment of anxiety, he thought he'd fire one up, and I think he might have been a little bit lucky that he drew a foul out of it. It was unnecessary for the defense to foul him, but somehow Greece needs to find more scoring options. We've got Giannakis is able to drive. Fasoulis can do some work on the outside, but up till now it doesn't look like there's too much going for them elsewhere. Sikos is not in there for his scoring. He's there just to try to contain Dino Raja down the other end. And I think as a result, Greece's scoring options are very limited, and Croatia have got this game in a night right now, and it's up to Greece to find some variation in their formula, not only to bridge this gap, but to try to awaken it a more of a legitimate contest.
Well, there's the Greek coach, and hasn't he got his problems? The Greek supporters trying to get something out of their team at the moment. And when we see Christodoulou come back, getting back to that last play, I think he saw the first time that they'd caused a switch, and he didn't see the big form of Tony Kukoc in front of him. Saw Comazets and said, okay, I've got someone smaller, I can shoot this thing. And it was his first shot of the ball game, and it's taken 8 minutes for him to get his first shot away. So, as Lindsay said, coming somewhat out of frustration. And 8 minutes gone, and there's the scoreline.
I was just watching the Croatian bench there. They're all just hanging around, chatting, not even chatting. The coach is just basically checking the players, how do you feel? And all they did was sit out that timeout. But they're obviously very comfortable in the situation as they are right now.
I saw the foul count, and it's the only thing that favours Greece at the moment. 4 fouls against Croatia, 1 against Greece. And Christodoulou, who's been a hero this week for his team, makes the first one off the free throw line and brings some blue and white flags out as well.
He'll feel good. He'll feel good about that. That gets him on the board, and it's always nice for a shooter to get a score. Squeezed in another one.
And he did squeeze it too, because got a couple of bounces on the hoop, and it all became very friendly for him. 3 off the line to Fanis Christodoulou. 17-10. Let's see if the Greek defense is up to it right here. And we've got a little bit of a change in pattern. No, we're still in the man-to-man.
Little 2-man game here. Get the ball to Dino Raja. Play some one-on-one.
One-on-one, and along the baseline it goes, and they turned it over.
You can see the Greece defense all there. Everyone inside the keyway trying to prevent the drive. No continuity with the Croatian offense. Forced an error.
So Christodoulou running the baseline in an attempt to shake off Tony Kukoc. That will still be a Greek ball, and they'll have it back with a new 30-second clock. It came out off the foot, reset the clock. And every play means so much at this level. You can't just come down and make a sloppy play and hope to get it back again, because you will be caned. Sigalis, who hit 2 in a row, and that shot is blocked there by Raja, but Sigalis takes it on the other side and has it blocked by Brankovic. Still Greece with the ball. Nothing that time for Fasoulis, but those long sticky fingers get the ball back, and Sikos underneath. Greece keeping it alive but not able to score, and that can be so frustrating. They had so many attempts at it there. Kukoc has that shot blocked by Fasoulis. See plenty of blocks already. Kukoc having plenty to say as he went into Raja.
He wanted
conversation
to do it,
going
but
on
he wanted to do it again. He was very upset about running into traffic there and getting his shot blocked. He wanted it back straight away, and he wanted to deal it again. But Dino Raja had set a post position and taken away Kukoc's opportunity to drive and take it to the basket again. So then reluctantly he pumped it into Raja for him to get the job done.
First foul on Fasoulis. And Dino Raja at the free throw line. No points in the opening 9.5 minutes for Fasoulis, so be some frustration there as well. But Raja, the big Boston Celtic, scores off the free throw line and extends the Croatian lead again. It's out to 19 points to 10. With the clock on your screen, coming down towards the midway point of the first half. Christodoulou goes a long way from the hoop and gets a shot off. Got a clean shot off but couldn't make it. They're going to have to make all them. Comazets goes to Brankovic, and Brankovic scores on the end of a fast break.
Well, that's a dangerous tactic for Greece. They usually like to try to keep the scoring low, especially in these types of matches. That shot went up a bit early. No rebounding contest. Croatia punishes them straight away.
Sikos, they give him that shot every time. He won't take it. Christodoulou will, and hit a 3. So he gets it going, but they're still facing an 8-point deficit. Now Alanovic gets the offense going again. Sigalis playing some tough defense here on Comazets. Had the screen one way, took it the other, and dumped to Raja. pulls it up, and that's the value of the big man Raja. He can take it outside, that time scoring from about 13 or 14 feet. So tough close to the basket, but when you can take it away and as well, it causes all sorts of problems for the defense. Christodoulou, this time Kukoc comes up and plays him closer. And a tough move from Panis Christodoulou to make it 2 in a row, taking Kukoc on and scoring on him. Raja again taking on Sikos, and that'll be a foul on Sikos. Count the basket, says referee Billy Mildenhall. And the foul goes against Sikos. Raja over the top of the defense and makes it, will go to the free throw line as well on the foul. So the foul count now, Croatia, who had 4 early fouls, remain on 4. 3 now to Greece. Not really a factor just yet, but Raja is certainly a factor. Bakatsias in to do the ball handling now for Greece. This sends Giannakis into the front court. Sigalis is the man to sit. Sikos had to reach to drag that one in. And Bakatsias feeding Fasoulis, and Fasoulis with his first points. And Lindsay, they have come after 11 and a quarter minutes.
Well, I noticed a defensive change there, whether that was just a switch on the play with Brankovic was normally guarding Fasoulis, but that time he was matched up against Raja. The size...
Sorry, Lindsay, travel called on that one, no basket.
Tough call.
Big call there coming from the Canadian referee, Peter Phipps. And we're going to see another substitution, and it's Rencius to come in for Greece and take out Sikos. Takes away a little bit from their size, but might give them another scoring option from the outside. Giannakis pulls it up and scores it. Sweet shot. They've got it back to 7. So a good period of the game right here for Greece. They've changed their lineup up. Rencius has to guard Dino Raja now. In they go. Kukoc dumps on the outside. Komosets just saves it at the sideline. Fires up a long 3 and easy rebound for Greece. Right across court to Christodoulou. So this might bring Raja away from the basket if Rencius is going to play away. That's him with the ball right now. Looks at the shot. Raja didn't go to him, but Rencius not able to make his first shot. Now Raja takes it in. Doesn't go, but it's a big tip on the other side from Brankovic. Handy to have.
It was like a second backboard, wasn't it? Just surrounded, suffocated the basket, just guided it back in. It's great to make a move like that, even though you make an error, and have insurance of Brankovic hanging around for you.
So Fasoulis opting not to take the outside shot now. Rencius backs it back again and draws the foul from Dino Raja, and big Dino didn't like the call one little bit. Walks right down to half court and turns and stares at the referee. So first foul on Raja, and we've got another timeout. 7:15 remaining in the first half here at the Sky Dome in Toronto. 5 team fouls right now against Croatia, 3 against Greece.
Well, I'm not too sure if Raja was critical of the referee there in making the call, or critical of himself, because he was trying to intimidate the shot and got a little bit of a hand with it, and you don't have to swipe too hard for it still to be a foul. And I think he might have been upset that he did cause the foul in probably what was an unnecessary situation. Rencius there has not seen a great deal of time in the tournament so far, but Greece have tended to stay pretty much with their starting unit for most games. And but nevertheless, Rencius felt like he had a go. He's had a couple of shots at it and hasn't made the basket, but now he goes to the line. It was probably an unnecessary foul.
That's Sikos that you just saw. Rencius on the left in singlet number 14. And Sikos obviously talking to one of his teammates who's just saying, what's it like out there? But Fasoulis, who's starting to come into his own, is doing a very good job defensively. It's a tough situation for him because he just has the twin towers to go against in Dino Raja and Stoyan Brankovic. and it's a very tough situation for him. But starting to feel it at the offensive end. Get a wide shot of this Toronto Sky Dome here and get an idea of the figures. I've just had a note handed to me. I mentioned before that the configuration they've got for basketball would give them a capacity of 40,000. Well, we've just been informed that's actually a 30,000 capacity building. We've certainly not had that many people here, but the crowd may build up because following this game we've got USA up against Russia.
Compared to the atmosphere that we had when Greece was playing at the Cop Stadium in Hamilton, there were only about 3,500 to 4,000 people at that. Most of them were waving Greek flags, but there was a much more intense atmosphere of that game than what we're seeing in this one, and we were expecting something that was much more fervent here as Croatia and Greece are going at it. So perhaps needs to get a little bit closer before the crowd really get warmed up in this match.
Yes, we've got an 8-point deficit right now for Greece, and Alanovic up to Komasets. No change at all in the Croatian lineup. They stayed with this 5 all through the 13 and a bit minutes we've been playing so far. Brankovic with a big jump hook that was thrown down at the basket, threw it short. Pretty good move from Bakatsias to go past Kukoc there. Dump to Fasoulis, the right-handed. That's his offhand shot, but have a look at Kukoc at the other end. And the Chicago Bull hurtles down the floor, makes the dunk, and a 10-point gap in the ball game.
I think you've got to say that's the luck of the game there, that Giannakis made a great play to get the ball to Fasoulis inside. The ball went almost down to the bottom of the basket before it rimmed out again. But once again, Croatia deadly in the way that they punished the uncontested rebound.
Fasoulis, he could have made that, you would think, but not able to make the stick back after Christodoulou had missed the shot from the outside. It was a well-won piece of offense where they set a double screen to try and get rid of the defense on Christodoulou. Turnaround jumper from Fasoulis, and he makes that. They say he's $1 million man in Greece, and we'll see if he can live up to that in this game. Read something that Fasoulis was responsible in a coaching change right before this tournament. Fasoulis had a bit of an argument with the current coach, and they had to make a change, get someone more to his liking in there. You've got his sort of reputation, you can do that kind of thing, but nothing that time for Vladan Alanovic. And Greece comes back. Handling the ball is Efthimis Bakatsias. So the lineup they've got out there now is Rencius down low. That's him with the ball right there, getting the screen from Fasoulis and taking it inside and having it blocked by Stojan Brankovic.
Well, Rencius might have to rethink his game plan, I think.
Here's that last fast break. Down they go to Kukoc. And down it goes for a point-blank 2. First sub coming for Croatia.
Rencius has shot the ball almost every time he's handled it, but he hasn't made one yet, and he really needs to give a little bit more attention to his efficiency.
Patavukas, number 5, in for Greece, and Josip Brankovic out there for Croatia in their first change. And it didn't go that time for Patavukas. So the coaches trying to pull the changes at the moment, particularly at the Greek bench. They're really having to work hard to try and find a lineup out there to do the job. But the Croatians actually listed Josip Brankovic to start. That's him with the ball right now. He didn't, but they've got him into the ball game now. And that's the big man, Stojan Brankovic. We saw him with a right-handed hook before that didn't go. He was just a bit of a sighter. He's got that one, and it's back to a 10-point lead. Christodoulou into Fasoulis. The handoff back to Christodoulou. He fumbled the ball, though, and ends up throwing it out of bounds.
Well, he surprised Rencius that time that Christodoulou actually had the play to the basket. A little left-hand hook would have been good enough. In trying to dish it out, Rencius was unprepared. Unforced error.
So Alanovic probing away, gets it on the left side to Kukoc. Down low they go to Raja, backing it in pro style, but goes back to Tony Kukoc. That's a pro style play, all right, but it didn't come up with points. So Greece searching for a basket, trying to get it to single figures again, and they do with a big three from Panos Christodoulou. his second 3 of the ball game, and it's back to 7. Now it's a question of whether the Greek defense can hold, make a stop and get another basket to reduce the lead further. Josip Brankovic. Low they go to Dino Raja. This time he works it in low and scores it. Pretty handy to have someone like that. I mean, if the defense can stop, as we saw the second last time down the floor, and kick it out to Kukoc, but that time Raja saw that he could take it straight to the hoop. Got a whistle on the play, and the foul goes against Josip Brankovic. That will be the 6th team foul against Croatia. But still, there's only 3 minutes to go in the half, and that won't be of great concern. We're going to see a timeout again. 3 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the half, and Arijan Komacet's getting ready to check back in for Croatia. He just had a couple of minutes rest on the bench, and the coach wants Komacet's back in there.
I think there's an interesting contrast in what we're seeing in this game with Croatia effectively playing with a double post offense, with Brankovic and Raja filling each side of the lane, and each in turn can play a one-on-one game in the low post position. And by contrast, Greece has just the one big man on the inside, and their second big man is ostensibly a non-scorer and a defensive post player to try to match up on Raja. So it places enormous...
And supporters, interesting to see on the bench. Lindsay mentioned last time out they had, where there was not a great deal said, and they get it all done in about 20 or 30 seconds, anything that needs to be said, and then they just stand around and have a bit of a rest. But there's Stojan Brankovic coming back in. 6 points and 6 boards, so it's been pretty reasonable time in the office for him. Fasoulis over the top of Brankovic and rebounded by Raja. That 1-2 punch. You beat one, there's someone waiting on the other side for the board. Brankovic down low. Komacet's back in. They go to Alanovic, who's been there the whole time. Just made the one change. Komacet's dumping it outside to Josip Brankovic. Can't stick the 3, but run down in the corner into Brankovic. So they run this offense so deliberately. Dino Raja just walks to his spot. Now he can go to work. Take on and Rencius stopped that occasion and spills the ball out over the end line. Josip Brankovic appealed for it. It appeared to come off Rencius, but the referee said forced out by Josip Brankovic. So Greece trail it by 9. Looking for a score on this play. Into the hands of Fasoulis. Patavoukas. Rencius gets the open shot from the free throw line there.
He's made one.
He looked pretty comfortable in taking that too. I'm sure the next time he gets it on the free throw line, the defense will be up on him, because they invited him to take that shot. Komacet's trying to dump it on the inside, but the big hand of Fanis Christodoulou was there. Now they come down the floor. Fasoulis gets Brankovic into the air and makes the 2. So a couple of straight baskets for Greece changed the complexion up ever so slightly. We've got a 5-point game with a minute and a half to go in the first half.
And now the Greek flags are waving.
Let's see if they can make consecutive stops here. Made 2 in a row and scored. Stojan Brankovic to go against Fasoulis again, and that can be so disheartening. Brankovic scoring over the top of the 7-footer Fasoulis.
Well, Brankovic doesn't look like he's going to get blood pressure in this game, does he? He just wanders there and gets isolated in the post, calmly goes about his business, but whether it's on offense or defense.
Well, Patavoukas throwing that ball out of bounds, and we saw that earlier in the half, but there, talking about Stojan Brankovic, if you get a close look at him, now our reporter Michael O'Dwyer called him an oversized. He has that sort of look about his face. Have a look at that last play again. Inside they go to Raja, and a foul in the back that goes against Rencius. Now they send Komacet's along the baseline. Christodoulou closes on him. Kukoc's taking the rest at the moment. Brankovic, and we got a foul called by the Australian referee Billy Maldenhall, who we're watching for the first time in this game. So it's going to send into the line again. There's Raja on one side, breaks the rebound, and he's set upon immediately.
We've seen that a few times, whether it's Raja going to the basket and Vrankovic rebounding or vice versa. Those two are dominating the offense down on the inside, and it's hard to know what Greece can do to prevent that from happening. It's really just a matter of size.
So scoring off the free throw line is Stojan Vrankovic. .34 seconds remaining, and Christodoulou couldn't score it, trying to retrieve the ball, and he does. Chance here to score it before half-time. They really can take one shot here because a 3-second differential. Bakasius heads for the hoop. We've got a whistle on the play against team foul. So no 1-on-1 just yet. We've only 16 seconds left in the half, and it's Alanovic who comes up with his second foul. And timeout called by the Greek bench to set up a last 16-second play.
Well, what Greece wants to do here is to control the ball until about the last 5 or 4 seconds. It takes about 4 seconds to get the ball down the floor for most teams, but with Yugoslavia might reduce that to 2.5 to 3, that they're so quick in the medium half-court pass, 2 steps and got a basket. So whatever happens on the shot, there needs to be a solidly contested rebound to deny Croatia the chance to get a quick fast break out of this play. So if Greece can score off this, reduce the margin to 6, that would be a very good effort for them in a game that has been dominated by the big men of Croatia. That's Raja and Vrankovic, compared to the one-on-one plays and the smarter 5-man game of Greece. Very interesting contest.
Lindsay, looking at this last 16-second play, if you're the Greek coach and looking at the kind of one-on-one matchups that we've seen out there, who do you go to?
Well, I think that you try to draw the force the defence to spread, and Bakasius or Giannakis to drive. They'll make the drive in order to draw the defence to pump it out for the three-pointer, or find a passing lane to Fasoulas to go one-on-one. But I think you can expect Croatia to play pretty tight, close to the basket on Fasoulas. So they spread the floor, look for the penetration.
Well, they've got Bakasius with the ball now. 5 seconds to go. He got the shot up. And chance here for Croatia to score if they can. Underneath, and just too late.
Half a second.
Half a second too late there for Arian Komosec to extend the lead. So at the main break, we've got a situation where Croatia leads it by 38 points to 29. At halftime, we'll see that last play as Croatia tried to get the ball down the floor. Look at the clock on the screen. 0.4 of a 0.1 of a second as he gets it up there. Oh, gee, that's a real judgment there.
Less than half a second. The ball has to be out of the hand. So whilst he's in the motion of shooting, that's not the same as in a foul situation. If he's in the motion of shooting and you're fouled, well, then it's going to be 2 shots. But for the score to be counted there, the ball has to be out of the player's hands prior to the time expiring. In that situation, if you look at it, I think there was probably there's about 0.2 seconds, a little bit too late.
Skyline, and what a fairly impressive city it is too. The big centrepiece is the CN Tower, the very large communications tower, which is right next to the Sky Dome here. And as we look at the Sky Dome crowd, 30,000 people it's configured for basketball, and if you've just joined our telecast, I have had 67,000 in here for the top crowd for anything. It's the home of the Toronto Blue Jays, who are back-to-back baseball champions. Right now, we've just started a baseball strike, though, in the US, and that has hogged the headlines for the last week or so, and now the newspapers are printing strike day 1. I can expect we'll see it for a long time, and they're hoping it doesn't reach the 50-day total of the previous strike. But the ball game is underway. We've got no strike here. Greece will have possession first up, and Croatia has made a change and brought in number 12, Danko Svetichan, and he's going to play defence on Badouris out there for Greece, who we didn't see in the first half. So both teams making changes. Ioannakis, who had just a couple of minutes rest in the first half, is back out there. Fasoulis to Ioannakis now, taking his man on and getting the reach-in foul. That's going to get against Ariane Komasets. If it is, I think it's his third. So Komasets reaching in there on Ioannakis, and 3 fouls for him to be the first player in any sort of foul trouble. Brankovic had a pretty nice first half, 10 points, 8 rebounds, and Fasoulis can't score it, and the two players looked at each other there and didn't clean up the loose ball, and Croatia come with it. Raja taken to the hoop, and all they could do was foul him. Dino Raja, what a frightening thought that is, trying to take him on coming to the hoop. Big man in the tournament, and that's the situation that faced Efthimis Rencius there, and all he could do was foul him and put Raja at the free throw line. Croatia went through the first half without missing a 7 of 7 they shot from the line, whereas Greece shot 3 of 6 through some of the other percentages, and from the field. Hey, it works every time. I thought I'd try it just while Australia wasn't playing. 14 of 31 from the field, Croatia, for 45%. Not a big percentage, but Greece 12 of 36 for 33. So a 10-point ball game. The problem facing, and with the ball, Badouris, they've tried a number of ball handlers out there. Ioannakis had the job to begin with. They tried Bakatsias, and now Badouris. Christodoulou trying, he's got Kukoc on him. Going low to Fasoulis against Brankovic, has to go a long way from the hoop for that hook shot, and that was from a bit of range.
Looked like it had to have a little bit of extra elevation on that, with Brankovic putting those long arms up. But that's Fasoulis' play, and I think Greece is playing much more of a 5-man game, but ultimately finishes with Fasoulis or Ioannakis, who is just having a breather for the time being. And teams, I think, are fairly evenly matched in the half-court game, and the difference of this match is that Croatia's been able to pick up just a few cheap baskets on the transition, usually coming from a Greece error.
Well, for Komaset's last basket for Croatia, who has given them a 10-point break again. And the same play, Fasoulis can't make 2 hook shots in a row, and the big long arms of Stojan Brankovic pull it in. And it's left to Kukoc to bring the ball up the floor. With a bit of instruction from Kukoc on the way. Back outside the 3-point line and takes it in. Svetic low to Dino Raja, gets rid of the defense of Efthimis Rencius, and it's like a man playing with a boy right there. Just used his body so well and just pushed him in the position he wanted, and that's the biggest lead of the ball game at 12. 43 plays 31. Not a lot for the Greek fans to cheer about here at the moment. They go try backdoor, and they were lucky to get that ball. Tried to find Christodoulou backdoor. Now he fires a 3, and Fanis Christodoulou can't score it, and Brankovic tries to save, and the Croatian big pair of Brankovic and Raja there having a word to his teammate. Not able to save the ball. Pretty hard for a couple of players of their size up around the 7 feet mark trying to do the job of guards. Rencius looks to the inside, goes to Fasoulis again. Christodoulou, screen there from Fasoulis, good play, but a hand in there on defense that came from Tony Kukoc. Raja again to the hoop. He gets out on the fast break so well.
That's the difference in the games, isn't it, in the teams, that Greece, in an uncontested rebound or a deflected pass, and Croatia punishes them straight away, especially when you've got a big man like Raja filling the lanes, and Greece can't keep up with him.
Shot goes off, Badouris' first shot. Pulled the trigger on that with no rebounders there. Kukoc to Raja again, and has the shot blocked, but there's been a foul before the block, the referee said. And we're going to see Dino Raja go to the free throw line on Fasoulis' foul. Have a look at it. Kukoc makes the feed into the hands of Raja. That was the previous play. And then they came back the other end again, and Raja was sent to the hoop on the other side and was fouled. So big Dino, who was 1 of 2 last time at the free throw line, makes that one, and that break is becoming awfully ominous, Lindsay. 15 points now.
Well, they're in mathematical terms. They've got a 50% lead on Greece at this stage. And sooner or later, Greece has to make a decision whether they want to up the tempo to give themselves a chance of reducing the margin, or whether they're going to be content.
Well, tried to make it 3. Raja pulled the ball off the boards. Kukoc again tried to find Brankovic, but the hand came in from Nikos Budouris. So it was Croatia, in fact, upping the tempo. They're the team that started to run. And more running in the opening 3 minutes of this half than we saw virtually through the first. Komosets getting things organised. Budouris on him. Now it's Kukoc. Gets the shot away, but the defence was there, but it falls to Brankovic for another opportunity. Komosets with the handoff. The defence was there from Rencius, but they got plenty of time. They can use plenty of clock on this play as Raja comes and sets the screen. Kukoc down the middle, and a foul is called. It'll be a side ball, and the foul goes against Galakteros, who's come in for Greece. So the Greek coach is looking for all sorts of combinations here. Here's that hesitation dribble and the long steps from Koni Kukoc. When you're 6'10" and can handle the ball like that, so difficult to guard.
Well, I'm not too sure how much discussion would go on the Croatian bench, because their game structure is so elementary. They spread the floor for the double low post passing options to either Raja or Brankovic on the inside. And then on the perimeter, if they try to match up or deny the pass on the inside, you've got Kukoc or Komosets quite capable of making the penetration the one-on-one. It's very much a one-on-one game, whether it's a low post one-on-one game or a guard one-on-one game on the outside and the penetration. So in the matchup, if you look at the both teams, in almost every individual matchup you've got, Croatia is slightly physically at an advantage. And so Greece has to compensate with more of a team game, 5-man game. And unfortunately for them at this stage, their shooting percentages have not been good enough to keep up with the Greece team. And the fact that they make an occasional error, that Croatia gets the easy basket on the transition. They do have a tremendous task now to wipe out this lead, even though it's only 4 minutes in the second half. A 16-point margin in a low-scoring game is a monumental task now for Greece.
Interesting to watch the Croatian bench there, Lindsay, as you see nearest Canberra, Brankovic with Raja beside him and Kukoc beside him. It's almost like just a discussion between those 3 players there. They're just working the whole thing out.
Well, also that they've played together for so long, although they're separated now with their individual clubs, either in the NBA or in Europe, they've grown up through the system of their club team at Jugoplastica that's won the Croatian and national championships there and the European championships. So they come together occasionally and reunite and go back to basics.
Well, Komosets, he's got Svetichanin in the left-hand corner, but taking this on his own and being fouled again. So the danger signs really there. Well, apart from the scoreline, they just cannot handle the penetration there from Komosets, and Budouris has to foul. It's his first foul. But if you get people like Komosets and Kukoc making that penetration, the defence not being up to it, it's good night. And this time it's Kukoc making that penetration and taking it all the way to the hoop. He seems to have just so much time.
And he unravelled those long arms to do a looping layup there, where other players would have been forced to shoot over the defence. He made it look easy.
Fasoulas for Greece. Trying to find a way through this defence at the moment. 18-point lead right now. Long bomb goes up there and fits fairly nicely for Narsis Galakteros. So he makes a 3 to finally get the Greek scoring going again, but they're going to need a string of those. They're down by 16 points and 5 minutes gone in the second half. They're just so clinical, this Croatian team, the way they pick teams apart. Down low to Brankovic again, and travel call by referee Mildenhall on the baseline as he threw a few pump fakes. Have a look at it again. Kukoc penetrating, dumping off to Brankovic. In fact, that was the previous play. Tony Kukoc, as Lindsay called it, unravelling the long arms, laying it up off the glass for 2. 49 plays 34. Christos Tsikos back in the game. Remember, he started. Count another 3 for Greece.
And that came from a fairly effective screen, which I'm not too sure was entirely legal, as there was a bit of movement on the cutter coming through the baseline. Probably needs that sort of teamwork to get the man free.
Svetichanin trying to get free, but they get free with Komasets there. Count the basket again. Komasets gets 2. Another foul from Badouris, and Badouris having all sorts of trouble trying to guard Ariane Komasets. We watch a previous play to Komasets, and just a 2 that he's got Galakteros dead to rights.
Well, Galakteros got caught behind there and chasing his man, just gave him a little nudge in the back. It might have been one that could be let go, but if the shot had been missed, then you would have bet that there'd be some complaints from the other team.
So Fasoulis on the bench. There's Christos Tsikos out there, playing it differently, setting those high screens. Not sure that he'll be doing the posting up low. Ioannakis pulls it up, made a good position on the inside, but too much defense there. Komasets dumping off to Svetichanin, and he couldn't handle the pass. It was right behind his head.
And Tony Kukoc was complaining bitterly on the other side that Svetichanin down the middle had the chance to feed the other side. Failed to see the open man.
Ioannakis pump fake and gets a 3-point shot up there. Needs a friendly roll. Doesn't get it. But underneath, grabbing the rebound was Christos Tsikos, and Raja fouled him. So Dino Raja with the foul. Have a look at it. Tsikos with Raja right across the arm. Second foul against Raja. So no great problems there. But the 2 big men still out there. We've seen Kukoc have just a 2-minute rest in the first half. But Raja and Brankovic have been the constants. Tsikos. And it rattles in for him. 13-point game. 52 plays 39. 5 team fouls against Greece. 2 against Croatia. So Greece have their problems there on the foul count as well. 6.5 minutes gone in the second half, and Raja under all sorts of pressure, but Tsikos got a hand on that, but deflected it out into the hands of Komasets. Right now it's Kukoc. Plenty of movement, but Kukoc takes the shot himself. Hasn't done a lot of shooting. Tony Kukoc has just put up 4 shots, or 8 shots, and made 4 of them. He has 9 points in the game. 12 to Komasets. 11 points to Stojan Brankovic. Nothing there for Greece. So Croatia playing with a handy 15-point break at the moment. Again, it's that 2-man game. But Kukoc keeps the 2-man game alive, and this time brings Raja into the action.
Well, that's composure under pressure there from Kukoc, and it's why people admire him so much, that there he was getting an offensive rebound right in the middle of the forest, and with all of that pressure he was able to see Raja on the other side and threaded a pass that very few people in the world would have been able to make that pass.
Tsikos gets one off from outside, but that is obviously not his shot the way he's taken the couple. Kukoc finds Raja down there, Brankovic, but cut out by the hand of Nikos Badouris. And Brankovic seems to have hurt something there. Having a bit of word to some Greek players as well, and having a word to referee Billy Mildenhall. Timeout's been called here.
Well, I think Brankovic was overreacting a little bit there, that Tsikos gave him a nudge there and was somewhat apologetic in doing that, and was trying to avoid a collision. But Brankovic wasn't having anything to do with the apology, and probably because he just got a little bit of a tweak there, whether it was on his knee or his leg, ankle, and more concerned about the pain rather than the apology.
He's just trying to walk it out at the moment. The medical staff had a bit of a word to him, and big Stojan Brankovic, very much a key part of this Croatian team. a little bit of concern through injury, but as we watch again the timeout entertainment, the ball handling skills that we've been watching all week. She's come out with a few different tricks at various times. She's got that one down pat. All the while, Stoyan Brankovic has been walking about, and he seems to be walking fairly readily. We'll have a look at him next time running up and down the floor, but there's been no attempt to take him out of the ball game yet. (56-39), 17-point break. We saw Greece make a bit of a run with a pair of three-pointers, but each time they've looked like maybe getting back into the basketball game, the Croatians have put them away again.
Well, once again in that timeout, the Croatian coach, Giuseppe Zerja, had basically nothing to say to the players at all. He merely went up to Brankovic and said, how are you? Brankovic nodded, said he's okay. Otherwise, he just wandered around from player to player, checking their condition. He's very comfortable with the present situation.
We saw that little byplay there in replay between Brankovic and Sikos. Now Sikos goes out and takes over on Tony Kukoc. Brankovic with Christodoulou on him, and we saw the size mismatch, just put it on the floor, and I don't think there's too much wrong with Big Stoyan.
Well, Seacock looked at the bench there, shook his head and shrugged his shoulders, said, what else can I do? Being left one-on-one with that combination is a lack of sympathy from the rest of his teammates.
Sigalis back in the game. He made the first couple of baskets of the ball game for Greece. Back in there and not able to make that one. So the lead now out to 19, and Croatia can take it beyond 20 with this play. Particularly with Raja working his way to the hoop, dumping off there and not able to find his teammate Brankovic. First time drive to the hole, a nice little finger roll on the end from Nikos Boudouris for Greece. 17-point game.
And Croatia very content to stroll down, play a half-court game, conserving energy.
Kukoc sends some players into the air and grabbed by Sikos. They've got numbers. See how Greece finished the fast break. Christodoulou for two.
Is that their first break for the game?
I would think it is. It's the first one I can remember. 58 plays 43. So back to 15 again.
I was just looking at the statistics there. Croatia has made 10 turnovers for the game to Greece's 6. And that's pretty good figures at this stage of the match.
Pretty good for Greece, because I think they made 4 of those in the first few minutes. And control the board again. Can they make a second fast break? But they haven't got the numbers here this time. Sigalis gets the shot off, though, and makes it. So 2 straight baskets for Greece. And we've got a 13-point game, and it's brought a timeout from the Croatians. Panic time, Lindsay.
No, I don't think it's panic time. It's typically a situation where this would be a good timeout called by Zerja. Not so much for strategy, but just really to try to break the momentum of Greece. They've made a couple of quick baskets. Maybe they can get some emotion into the game, get a bit of momentum into the game, and Zerja doesn't want to have any part of that. So he stops them, stops the emotion, stops the game. And now he's having something to say to his players. And by and large, he'll be just reminding them that you can't be careless, you can't just wander up and down and take things for granted. Greece is too good a team for that. If you make a mistake, they can punish you just as well. Just got to take a little bit of care, get back on track, nurse this 13-point lead. Just a little bit upset the last 2 plays that Croatia has been a bit careless, and Greece has been able to punish them for that.
Well, it's Sigalis who made that last jumper. Panis Christodoulou, who hasn't had too much offensively in the second half. We saw him go through the first half of the first without getting it going, but firstly, in the second 10 minutes he did. But Hugo, the Charlotte Hornet, to entertain the crowd, and the Croatian huddle has pretty much broken up now. They're watching the on-court entertainment.
I think there's something of a contest going between these two, isn't there, Phil, with the Hornet trying to out-dunk the Gorilla. And I think so far in the tournament, the Gorilla might be leading on points.
Well, we'll get a chance to match up the 2 styles here with see what Hugo can do on this play, and they're going to go at it together. Tandem dunking. But we haven't seen too much dunking from the Greek lineup. They've got it all to do at the moment. 15-point ball game. We've seen it get out to 20. And their momentum has been stopped by this timeout. So when the ball comes back into play, it'll belong to Croatia. Greece outscored Croatia 8-0 in the last minute. So just something for the flag wavers in blue and white to do. Komasets. Sigalis out on him, and Komasets takes him on, met by the defense. Some good help coming there from Tsikos. Shot going up, and not for Dino Raja, as Christodoulou pulls it down, and they try and pick the tempo up by pushing it up the floor. But all the white singlets were back there. Christodoulou driving it into the hole and not making it, shooting it short, and oh, I thought he'd missed that. It was Argyris Papapetrou who's come in, his first time in the ball game, and we haven't seen much of him all week. Papapetrou wearing number 12. Sveticana. Feed on the inside to Kukoc along the baseline, just when they needed a basket. It's back out to 13. 60 plays 47. So the Greeks who got it down from 20 to 11, we got a foul here. It's against Komasets. And Komasets will have 4 fouls now. We'll have a look at it. Bit of concern there from the coach. And Komasets has 4. Haven't seen a move from the bench yet. Sigalis stops and pops and hits. So back to an 11-point game. 60 plays 49. Greece making a run just when the Croatians thought they'd put them to bed. It's still a long way back into it. Kukoc just starting to step things up a bit, backs it off for 3. And Tony Kukoc with consecutive baskets. A 2 along the baseline. Outside he sticks a 3.
Well, Kukoc is showing a bit of leadership on those last couple of plays, and I think Croatia has made a decision to go a little bit more structure in their game, as they've gotten away from their one-on-one low post match.
Not a bad shot there,
the baseline, but Greece is not to be denied.
Papapetrou, who's been fed into the game in the second half. And Tony Kukoc was hit by a huge screen that came from Tsikos in that. Now Raja, can he take over? Another pro player, and the foul goes against Papapetrou in trying to handle the big man, Dino Raja.
I think it's, we'll have a look at that again. I think it's interesting to note that Greece is not doubling down on that. They're just leaving the one-on-one assignment there, and I think that they're aware that as soon as you double down on that, you expose the perimeter shot. But it is a tremendous task to be able to defend a man so close to the basket with that size and strength against you. That's not a very good assignment.
Komasets, a bit hard to predict this Croatian bench. I thought they were going to take out Komasets, but they've left him there with 4 fouls, taken out Stojan Brankovic, and brought in this man, Ivica Zuric. Komasets with a terrific pass underneath to Raja. That was such good vision.
Especially under that sort of pressure as well. There was no margin in that pass. It could have either been pinched off.
No 3 for Sigalis, and Kukoc wasn't able to save. Turns round and appeals to his teammates, hey, I want some help here. So Greece will have the ball out of bounds. They trail it by 14. They got back as close as 11, and that will come, I think, off Croatian hands. In fact, the referee says it's going the other way. It will be a Croatian ball. I thought that came out, and there's the Greek coaches appealing for it, but it's going the other way. Referees confer and say, no, we're going to stay with Croatia. Greek bench is not too happy with this. They're not going to get it changed, though.
I thought that was the right call, but you know the Greek team is going to appeal.
Kukoc again for 3. This time off the window, and it doesn't go from in front. Christodoulou was fouled around the back by Tony Kukoc. And Greece will have the ball again in the front court. Have Kukoc. Have a look at this foul. He had a word to Billy Mildenhall about this, and a reach around the back. Mildenhall was right there and got a pretty good look at it. Another foul against Croatia, but it's only their 4th. Greece have 6. Badouris in the corner to Christodoulou, and the double team. Komosets comes across, playing with 4 fouls, remember. They can't run. Yes, they do run it down. Sveti Čanec runs it down. Zuric. And now they organise the offence again. Kukoc. Christodoulou reached in on Kukoc. Made it a fairly simple call for the referee.
Just an element of frustration now coming from Greece. Croatia got a 14-point margin. They're starting to be aware of the clock with only 6 minutes to play. That task is still getting more difficult. A 14-point lead at this stage is not invincible, but the way Croatia plays, and they're so good with the ball and identifying their targets, Greece has still got a problem.
Komosets finds Kukoc. The defense of Christodoulou is up on him though, trying to make a penetrating pass, and a holding foul on Komosets. Well, he was holding Komosets. It was Georgios Sigalis holding Komosets as he tried to make the cut, and that is foul number 8, I think. It is 1-1, the referees say. The 8th team foul against Greece. The 2nd against Sigalis. And no attempt to take out the man on the line, Arian Komosets. Very important cog in this Croatian wheel. Komosets works his way to 13 points. He's 4 of 8 from the field. 1 of those was a 3-pointer. And now he's 5 of 6 off the strike. The time really starting to work against Greece now. Pattern was set very early in this one, under 6 minutes to go, and Greece have to score a heap in a hurry. Little pump fake there, and count the basket, the referee says. That was a long, long time.
Well, I guess he had started his shooting action, sort of.
We'll have a look at it again. Badouris, Sveti Čanec on him. Yeah, the call looked pretty good.
Oh, I think he was generous.
Lindsay's Australian.
All right, okay, good call, Bill.
Badouris to make a 3-point play. Off the front of the rim, can't make the extra point, so it remains at a 14-point ball game. Croatia in absolutely no hurry. We've seen them fast break the basketball, but they certainly don't push the ball up the floor once the defense is set. Sveti Čanec probing away against Sigalis. Kukoc.
And Sigalis is doing a great job on Komosets. He's chasing him, making it very hard for him to get the ball. He realises that Komosets is the man, along with Kukoc, that makes things happen. And but that's a formidable task as well. Komosets has had an outstanding game.
Watch that last play there. There's Kukoc again feeding that one-handed left pass in, and Raja underneath, not able to score it, but the foul against Christos Tsikos puts him at the free throw line. 1 to come. Fasoulis still sits. Wonder if we'll see Fasoulis back in the game, Lindsay, or he's being saved for another day.
I doubt it. I think that this game is all but gone for Greece, even with 5 minutes to play, 14-point margin. Croatia's not going to do anything irrational.
Sigalis, and a layup where he got clear on it and couldn't make it. He'll be disappointed in that. Komosets, Kukoc, and that pass that goes like a rocket into the hands of Raja, and he comes up with a jump hook and makes it. 16-point gap.
Well, that's a combination. It's not only a good pass, it's pretty good play from Raja to make himself available for a pass like that and to handle it. There's no margin in any of that, either from the pass or the receiver.
Not a lot of percentage in putting the ball in there to Papapetru. With the big man behind him, Raja handled that situation very, very comfortably. See Raja in the background getting rid of the taping around his knee. Actually feeling pretty good with himself, or either that or the taping was just too uncomfortable. Sveti Charnan gets a shot up there. And it's only his second shot of the ball game, so he gets on the score sheet. (71 plays 53). So the further the game goes, the further it gets away from Greece again. Croatia had it out to 20. Screen from Sikos, but there was no place to go for the dribbler. Sigalis, penetration, hangs in the air and can't hit it again. So Sigalis, who's had a couple of pretty good scoring opportunities, that was a bit of a tougher shot, but not able to put it down. Now this just slow dribble coming from the big man Tony Kukoc. Now to Komasets. Raja. And Dino Raja got a hit on it, and that's the mark of a good player. Christos Sikos played him as close as possible, so close that he fouled him, and Raja has the strength to make the two and go to the line as well. Have a look at it again. Dino Raja. Up goes Sikos, rattles his elbow. Raja gets the two and will go to the line after the timeout. So with a 20-point lead and 3 minutes and 16 seconds remaining, the Croatian fans can cheer. The Greek fans can wonder what might have been, but Lindsay, would Croatia be happy with this situation, up 20? Would this be a margin they'd be pleased with?
I'm sure that they'd be quite satisfied with a 20-point margin over Greece. And I'm also thinking that Russia, in watching this game, might also be satisfied as well, in that Croatia's had to do some work to earn it. They haven't just had to show up here and go through the motions. They went through the first half fairly comfortably, but when Greece made a run at it there to get the score back to 12 or 13 points, Croatia had to take stock, had to go back to work again, and that's when Tony Kukoc and Raja took over again. For all of the hype and the publicity that Tony Kukoc has got, and he is a great player, my choice is Dino Raja. He has had an outstanding game, doing some heavy work defensively, controlling the boards, making strong targets against good pressure on the inside, and then finishing. He's got 26 in the points so far. He is an outstanding player.
You see all the flag waving about at the moment. Well, it's been waving all through, but the two mascots, Hugo the Hornet and the Phoenix Suns Gorilla, have been out on the court raising the flags of both countries. And of course, as they raise the Croatian flag, up go the red, white and blues, and then follow up with the Greek flags. So plenty of entertainment here at the Sky Dome in Toronto. But we've got a 20-point game. And I am somewhat bemused at the Croatians, Lindsay. They've just brought in Josip Brankovic, but I thought maybe they might use a few more bench players in this situation.
Well, perhaps so, but there's nothing new in what they've done tonight, because this is the way they've played throughout the tournament. They haven't gone deep in the bench until the very last moments in a game. A couple of their, well, I think one of their players, Pesanovic, has played only 5 minutes for the tournament. So they've decided to run with their first 7 or 8 players at most, and the rest, I think, are there for emergency or insurance or disaster.
Well, just as we speak about that, they have made a number of changes, and Kukoc has gone out again. So they've got very much a different looking lineup out there right now. It's Pecinovic, the guy you were talking about. He's number 10. That's Ivica Zuric, headed for the hoop and losing the ball out over the end line. This will be a Greek ball. So we'll look at the lineup they've got out there. The Greeks making another substitution now. They've brought back Bakatsias, the starting guard, and he's taking out Sigalis.
The Greece haven't gone too deep in the bench throughout the tournament either, but now, I mean, virtually this game is resolved, and both coaches will be thinking about tomorrow and making sure they don't want any of their studs getting injured. Don't do anything rash in these last couple of minutes.
A look at the Croatian lineup out there. They're going to play some defense now, but number 4 is Josip Brankovic. He's on the ball. We've also got Arijan Komasec, who's been left out there with 4 fouls. I mentioned him earlier. They're going to let him play right out with his fouls. Just 2 minutes and 14 seconds remaining. And Croatia with a 21-point break. Now here's a player who hasn't had much of a chance. Papa Petru taking it to the hoop, and he will go to the free throw line on the foul that comes from Pejinovic. Look at the stars on the bench right now. There's the foul, and we're going to see Papa Petru at the free throw line.
That barely got the distance.
Yes, well, I think that one's into the wind. Not that time either for Papa Petru, so he hasn't troubled the scorers. This bloke has Komasec, goes inside and out to Josip Brankovic. Understand they're not related at all, Josip and Stoyan. Very much different builds too. That's Josip Brankovic heading for the hoop and makes it with a lefty. Nice drive. Well, we saw him earlier in the tournament. In fact, when they played Australia, Josip Brankovic had a starting role to play defense on Andrew Gaze. So obviously out there as a defensive specialist. Having to run through some screens on this play though. Nikos Badouris not making it at all that time. Now they set away on the fast break, and Josip Brankovic threads the needle on the pass and finds his teammate in Pejinovic, and he scores, and we've got a 25-point ball game coming into the final minute. So even with their bench players out there, Croatia finished in this game very strongly. Of course, we're seeing a lot of players from both benches out there. Gone for Greece are people like Giannakis, Fasoulis, Christodoulou, the 3 mainstays, and it's the benches going at each other. Not that time for Komasec.
Oh.
Big rebound though.
Good rebound. He looked like he got too far under it, but unravelled his. He's got long arms as well, and he unravelled, and it was a very good effort to get that board.
So one of the last plays of the game for Croatia. Josip Brankovic uncorks the 3-point shot and makes it. They will get another turn with the ball though, because Greece got it back with about 34 seconds left on the clock. 28-point game. It's interesting, even though you're trailing by 28, you don't want to be beaten by too many, and that's what Greece is after at the moment. Little fake, and inside they go, and a foul. We're going to see Athimas Rencius at the free throw line. Rencius, who came into the game early to take out Christos Sikos and play defense on the big man, goes to the free throw line. So Rencius scores. 6.6 seconds left in the game, in one that the Croatians can be pretty happy with, and their fans. This tournament's shaped all the way like a Croatia-USA final. Remember, we've got USA-Russia coming up after this game, so stay with us on a terrific card here at the Sky Dome today. There's the full-time hooter, 81-55. It finishes up a 26-point game. Croatia controlled the game right from the start, and apart from just a minor hiccup there about 7 or 8 minutes ago, they've looked in charge all the way, Lindsay.
Yes, well, I see the Croatian flags have outnumbered the Greek flags about 7 or 8 to 1, I think, here at this stadium, and they can be very pleased with their team that they virtually led from go to woe. They had a good margin at half-time. They blew it out to a winning margin. Just had a minor hiccup halfway through the second half when Greece made a mini run at them, but a timeout, back to work, a couple of good plays from Kukoc and Raja, set the record straight, and then they nursed it fairly comfortably to the finish of the game. So Croatia will be very pleased with that, confident looking forward to the next game, probably against Russia tomorrow. And that, for me, will have a greater deal of interest in this one because tomorrow really counts. Tonight was one of those ones that could have gone either way. But tomorrow is the one, death or glory, and that'll be the one that I'll be looking forward to.
Well, as we look forward at the moment, we look at the Croatian score, 81-55 over Greece. We look forward to USA and Russia coming up, but for the moment, we leave you from the Sky Dome in Toronto.